All right, class. Today we are going to write notes on creating scatter plots in the calculator. We're also, as we're writing notes, we will do an example in the calculator. Okay, so the video is probably going to take a little bit longer because I want to make sure that you have enough time to do these steps if you need to do them later. Okay. So I'm going to be trying to write this slowly because I realize you're going to be writing and you're going to be using your calculator at the same time. However, if I'm still moving too fast for you, do not hesitate to say, Miss Reyes, could you please slow it down? Okay. All right. We got Q3 because this is quarter 3 and we're going to do page 6. This is our page 6 of notes. The title of page 6 is going to be Creating Scatter Plots in the Calculator. Okay. Creating scatter plots. Please write this as I'm writing. Don't try to do this stuff later because 9 times out of 10, you say you do it later and you don't do it later. Okay. Creating scatter plots in the calculator. All right. And of course, we're using a graphic calculator. That is a requirement that we have a graphic calculator and that we know how to use it because a large part of our ELG at the end of the year is going to be calculator active. And we will have an ELG at the end of the year. So please don't think that we're not, that they're going to change their mind. We are going to have an ELG at the end of the year. Okay. So we need to make sure that we prepare for that by using this calculator. All right. So we're going to create scatter plots in the graphic calculator. So the first thing that we must do is clear our calculator. We've talked about how to do that, but we're going to write that down. And then we're going to perform that step, okay? So to clear your graphic calculator, you press these buttons. You're going to press the second button, the plus button, the number 7, the number 1, and the number 2. This is what clears your calculator. So let's do this together. Write it down first, and then we're going to do these steps together, okay? Write it first, and then we're going to do these steps together. All right. So in our calculator, let me slide this up just a teeny bit. In our calculator, we're going to press the second button. See, the second button is right here. Plus, yes. You got a question, baby? Oh, sorry, y'all. We got second. Let's start again, sorry. We got the second button. Plus 7, the number 1, and the number 2. Okay, so a second, the plus button, the number 7, the number 1, and the number 2. That's how you clear your calculator, okay? Clear only clears that screen like that. It doesn't clear all the other stuff that was dumped in there, like the settings. It restarts your settings and everything.
So 7 plus?
You click second, then plus.
Plus 7.
And then 7, the option 7, if you see it here, it says reset. And then number 1 says all RAM. And then number 2 says reset. So it's second plus 7, 1, 2. Anybody else have any questions about how to clear the calculator? Are you good with that, babe? Zach, are you good with that? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move on to number 2. Let's write this down, and then we're going to perform these steps, okay? So we got number 2, and we're going to type in the ordered pairs. So we're going to type in the ordered pairs for our from our scatter plot, which, you know, sometimes we'll say points, ordered pairs points, but we're going to type those in, okay? How do we type them in? These are the 2 buttons that you're going to press. You're going to press the stat button Oops. And then you're going to press enter on edit. Okay? You're going to press enter on edit. Yep, that's what we're getting ready to do. Okay? Write that down, and then we're going to do these steps. All right? Okay? So now I want you to press the stat button here. This is where stat is. And then press enter on edit, right there at edit. And this is what you see on the screen, L1, L2, and you'll see many more lists. We only need L1 and L2 because we're going to type our X values in L1 and our Y values in L2. Okay, so we only need 2 columns. We need L1 and L2. This is where we're going to type in our X values. And this is where underneath the L2 is where we're going to type in our Y values. Okay. Please write that down. And then I'm going to
Is that L1 and L2?
L1 and L2. It looks just like this. Look. We're only going to use those 2 columns. L1 is the column we're going to use for the X values. L2 is the column that we're going to use for the Y values. Okay. All right. These are the numbers that we're going to type. Okay. So you're going to type these values in, guys. When you have a function table, a regular function table, you just have X and Y. So all you need, not when you're graphing ordered pairs. You'll be able to use lists 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 for something else, but not for graphing ordered pairs. Okay. All right. So these are all good questions. So again, just recapping real quick, we cleared our calculator. We're typing our numbers in our ordered pairs in the calculator by pressing the stat button, then press enter on edit, and then you'll see this screen and you type in your X values under L1, your Y values under L2. And that's what we just did. Okay. All right, so now let's go to our third step. Nope. So our third step that we're doing is we're going to, let's write this down. We're going to press the second button, and then we're going to press the Y equals. We're getting ready to tell our calculator to graph this as a scatter plot. Okay? So we're going to press the second button and Y equals. Okay? So right here, this is the second button, right? And then Y equal is right above it. And then Y equals. And then you should see different plots. You can do more than one plot at the same time, but we only want one scatter plot. Oh, it's okay. You're fine. You press the second button and Y equals. So again, I'm repeating that step one more time. You press the second button and the Y equals, and it brings you to this screen. Okay. Anybody else? That's step 3. Okay. Step 4, let's write this down so you'll know, so you'll be able to go do this on your own, okay? You're going to press your enter button. On that first plot, you're going to press enter, and then you're going to press enter again. So you're going to press enter twice. The second time you press enter is actually to cut the graph on. Okay? So it actually goes from off to on when you press the second enter. So please write this down so that you're able to do that later. Press enter. You're going to press enter twice. Okay, so go back. Let me model that. I'm going to press enter one time. The second time I press enter, look at what it's doing. It's going to go from off to on. So press enter. So now my scatter plot is on. You see right here where it says type? These are different types of graphs. That first graph is scatter plot, so I don't have to move it. So I don't have to do anything else because that first type is scatter plot. This type is a line graph. This is a histogram. This is a box and whisker, and these little dots right here are outliers. This is a box and whisker if you don't have any outliers. And I forgot the last, I think this is a discontinued graph. You will not use this graph for this course, so don't worry about the name of this one. Then it has your list, your X values or X list is in L1, your Y list is in L2. Do you see why we put those X and Y values in L1 and L2? Okay. Then it has down here, you don't have to do anything to this. I'm just telling you what it means. Then it has this right here. This is how your point is going to show up on your screen. I would always use the box because when you use the little plus or this little dot, it's hard to know if it's just a marking on your screen or whatever. It's easier to read a box than it is to read these little bitty dots that you can barely see. So after I press enter twice, I'm good. Okay. Now my fifth step, almost done. My fifth step is probably the longer step, but let's write this down. In the fifth step, you're going to create the coordinate plane. You have to create the coordinate plane in the let him in the calculator. So you're going to put create the coordinate plane, create the coordinate plane. This is the fifth step, okay? In order to create the coordinate plane, you're going to press window. Create the coordinate plane by pressing the window button. Put it in a box. All right, your window button is right here beside y equals. Your window button is right beside y equals. Okay. You notice a couple things on this screen. The things that you notice on this screen is that you have X min, X max, X SEL. All of these values right here create the X axis. Y min, Y max, and Y SEL, all of these values create the Y axis. And your X rest, you don't have to worry about. It always stays on 1. So you don't have to worry about that last value. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Okay? All right, so let's go back up here and talk about these values. When you're creating a coordinate plane, remember you have your X axis, your horizontal number line, and you have your Y axis. Your X min value is going to be the smallest number on your X axis. Whatever your X min is, it's going to be the smallest number on your X axis. So let me put here smallest number. It's your smallest number on your X axis. Please write that in so you'll know. X min is the smallest number on your X axis. Okay. Your X max then is the opposite of that. It's going to be the largest number on your X axis. Your X max is the largest number on your X axis or the highest number on your X axis. All right. And lastly, we said that X SCL, X SCL. Those are the increments that you want your X axis to go up by. increments of x-axis. So if you want your x-axis to go up by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, then your x SEL is 5. If you want it to go up by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, so on and so forth, then you put 10 here. If you want to go up by ones, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then your x SEL is 1. This is how you change the increments on the x-axis. Let's look at the y-axis. Your y min is the smallest number on the y-axis. So we're going to put smallest number. It's going to be the smallest number on the y-axis. Your y max is going to be the largest number on the y-axis. Okay, so y max is up here. It's the largest number on the y-axis. Largest number. It's the largest number on the y-axis. This is how you make your coordinate plane. And once you get used to this will go by so fast. It really will. It's just taking a long time to explain, okay? And lastly, your YSCL are your increments of the y-axis. Increments, INCREMENT of y-axis. And sorry that's so small, y'all. And I'll pause to give you a chance to write that, okay? All right. So now we're going to do this step together. So again, in order to create the coordinate plane so that the calculator can graph these points, you press window. So window is right beside y equals. Okay. Now, my lowest x value that I need, the smallest x value in my table is 1. So I need to use a number that's a little smaller than 1 so that I can see 1 on the calculator. So let's do my x min value. Let's do it at -3. Okay. So let's type in negative is here, 3. As long as the number is smaller than 1, you can use it because you want to be able to see 1.
-3.
-3. It's smaller than 1. I could have used -5. I could use 0 as long as it's smaller than 1. Okay. X max. Your largest X value is 12. So you need to go a little higher than 12 so you can see 12. So let's go to 15. A little higher than 12 so you can see 12. So let's go to 15. So I'm going to press the down arrow and type in 15. My increments on the x-axis, I just want to go up by ones because from -3 to 15 is not that many numbers. So x SCL is 1. I'm going to go up by ones. Now I'm dealing with my y-axis. So I'm looking at my y values so I can see them all. So my lowest y value, my y min, is 8. So I need to go a little smaller than 8 or smaller than 8. I can use -3 again if I wanted to because it's smaller than 8. I can use 0. As long as it's smaller than 8 so that I can see 8, it's fine. Okay. So I'm going to press 1 here for this one. Then I go down and I press -3. And now I'm looking at Y max. My highest Y value is 23. So I need something higher than 23. So I'll do 25. So I'm going to put my Y max at 25. So I'm going to type in 25 here. My YSCL, the increments for the Y-axis, I'm going to put it at, I'm going to use 1. I'm going to go up by ones. -3 is not that far away from 25, so I'll just go up by ones. And X rest, just leave it alone. Keep it at 1. Leave it alone. And again, this is my window.
Then YSCL
is 1 also. Yeah, I'm going to go up by ones. So these are the numbers that you should have for your window. Yes, babe. Point. Make sure that when you're typing in these negative numbers, that you use the negative button and not the minus. If you use a minus sign, it's not going to let you do it. You have to use the negative button in your calculator. And for this calculator, the negative sign is right beside the enter. So please make sure you use negative button. Don't use minus for negative numbers. Use the negative, okay? Anybody else got any questions before we do the last step? Okay. So lastly, number 6, all we're doing is just pressing graph. So number 6, press graph. Number 6, press graph. And the graph button is at the very top, all the way over here. So now you press graph and you'll see a scatter plot. Press graph is the last step.
going up.
It's going up, yep. You remember what kind of correlation that was? Very good. It is positive. Positive correlation. Okay, and I'll pause it here. All right, I want you to try one on your own, okay? All right, so let's do this one. Graph, and we'll check it on Thursday. Graph the scatter plot in the calculator, okay? So the ordered pairs, write this down. Remember, this will go under L1 and this will go under L2. But your ordered pairs, we got 0 and 5, 2 and 7, 3 and 10, 8 and 15, 10 and 23, 20 and 34. Okay? Please copy that down. I want you to do this one on your own, okay? We'll go over this on Thursday. I'm going to stop the video here, okay?